Okay, so I've been out to see a friend today. I haven't actually seen her in 2.5 months. Um, we the last time I seen her actually was when we went to Sardinia and had 2 weeks holiday. A really nice time, by the way. It was really good. And yeah, I mean, since then, I mean, my friend last, not this year, but the year previous, had a stroke, and she's about the same age as me, and yeah, of course, it really kind of took her down, and I saw her in a way that I'd never seen it before, and it was quite upsetting actually. We've been friends for a good, well over, I'd say well over 20 years now, and yeah, it's something that really shocked me, and just wasn't expecting it at all. So since then, really, she's made absolutely fantastic progress. She's walking around. I mean, to be quite honest, with looking at her, you wouldn't have guessed that she didn't had a stroke. She's that good. But yeah, I mean, I since then she's really been looking after her diet. She's been eating more fruit and all these kinds of things. And we were having a conversation today, and I noticed something very interesting, especially with regards, because she's on some pharmaceutical drugs at the moment, obviously to thin her blood. What she had was like a condition where she's got like a hole in one of the top I think it's the top ventricles of her heart, and it sort of bridges across between her arterial side of her blood system and the venous side. And what they reckon happened was caused the actual stroke was a bit of blood, like a blood clot. Small blood clots we have all the time in our system actually escaped through this gap, and went into the arterial side, and then went up to her brain and actually blocked part of that circulation off for a little while, and that's what caused the stroke. And so that's what happened. And so she's on medication. She was on a series of medications to stop, obviously to thin. I think she's on a blood thinning medication, and then there was another one and something else. I think she's on two at the moment. She might be down to one blood thinners, but yeah, I mean, she mentioned today actually, just in conversation, oh, she said it must be the drugs, and I thought, well, hang on a minute. So I quickly kind of brought that round and said, well, what have you been doing with your diet recently? And she said, well, in the last year or so, because I knew that she'd obviously been making changes. And so I said, what have you been doing with your diet in recent times? She said, well, I've been eating more of a Mediterranean diet because that's supposed to be a lot healthy for you. She've had lots more olive oil. And I said, what else? And she said, fruit. I've been having a lot more fruit. I don't drink so much alcohol anymore. And she said, I have to drink water. I have to drink water because, I get very dry because of the drugs and stuff. And I said, well, if you look at it this way, you've changed a hell of a lot in your diet. And she's, yes, also I've been sleeping a lot more, right? So I said, if you look at it this way, look at all the things you've been doing. You've adapted your diet, so you're getting more fruit. You're eating better, obviously, in general. You're having more of a Mediterranean diet, which is part Maltese anyway, so hence the Mediterranean diet. And I said, you've been drinking more water, so your body's more hydrated. You've been getting more sleep. You haven't been getting so stressed, all of these things. It's kind of brought round, and your mental condition. You're not taking things so seriously. All of these things, and she said to me, I actually feel a lot better than I have done for a long, long time. Despite having the stroke, obviously. And I said, so that's been beneficial, hasn't it? And she said, yeah, actually, as a matter of fact, it has. And it was just like a little thing that I noticed, and I've just thought with the whole with the whole thing with regard to drugs and the general mindset of I would say most of the populace around drugs, and that mindset is kind of like, well, the drugs are making me better, and they're the only thing that's making me better, and that's probably why I feel better. And the thing that I wanted to get round to is say, look, it's not the drugs. Yes, the drugs are helping to thin your blood, to stop those blood clots going into the other side of your brain through that vent, or they're like a precautionary measure that's stopping, as a result of thinning your blood, that will stop those clots getting into that side of your heart prospectively, and going up to your brain and doing the same thing again. So it's kind of like a precautionary measure, but it's not the actual drugs that are causing you to feel better. It's your change of diet, your change the water, the more fruits, the more Mediterranean diet, more olive oil, the doing of the exercise, the changing of the mental state, and all those sorts of things. That's what's happening. And I said, and that's why her I just wanted to bring that round to her and say, look, this is why you feel better. It's not because of the drugs per se, and it's not because the drugs are making you feel better, because, it's what you're doing in your diet, what you're doing in your everyday. And so that's kind of interesting, isn't it? It was good. It was a good opportunity to actually let her know or bring her attention to this so that she could see what achievement she'd made with regard to that. Because I've noticed this is one thing that kind of happens with me and that I see a lot in people that, I'm friends, a lot of my friends. And, it was a way in which I was able to kind of help her in a sense to kind of see that achievement so that she could benefit from that and think, actually, as a matter of fact, I've made really good progress. So, it's just one way in which you can help your friends, I think, in a sense, to be able to bring those things round. And if you have a little bit of knowledge like I do with my diet and stuff, because I've been fairly ill, you can kind of bring that conscious knowledge round to those, round to people, so they can actually see what the achievements that they've made. So that's today's video, guys. Hope it's been useful. We are literally tomorrow, it's New Year's Eve. I don't think I'm going to be doing a great deal. I'll still be posting a video as usual. Hope you all had a good Sunday and rested day if you're able to chill out. And I'll see you later.